think the first thing I want to do is move this a little to the right and put the Cyperus Helferi on the left there. So I'm going to get that rinsed off. I actually think I'm going to take the Laganandra boldi out and move it back to the 29. It's just maybe not quite the look I'm going for in here. I may put it back. I don't know. You can always add and take out, and I don't have my normal layer of moam in this tank after having to replace the substrate. So it's probably not going to make very much of a mess at all moving things around for quite some time. That is how I like to do my substrate. I call it a self-dirting tank. It's just smooth, small black gravel, and then I allow the moam to accumulate and settle underneath it. I know a lot of people don't like that method. Some people feel like it's just going to build up and cause problems down the road. But what I do is I do siphon it off the top of the gravel as much as possible. And then the little bits that I miss eventually work their way down. And while they do that, the bacterial cycle is taking care of the ammonia and stuff that is in the moam. And once it gets to the bottom, it's just sort of free fertilizer. Then when it starts getting really thick and I can see it on the sides of the tank, I will go in and do some siphoning in small areas just so that it doesn't start coming up above the gravel. But I find that it makes me dependent on root tabs, like a lot less. So I like it. It's free. There, you can see a little bit of junk coming out there. That's how I do it. And I will plant those once I get the Cyperus Helferi in. I want that in the corner there. There are 6 plants here. The roots smell a little iffy, but I'm gonna plant them and see. So I feel like I don't like how that is going. Right here. I want it a little tighter of a clump. I think I'm going to get this how I want and then start filming again. Alright, I've gotten that in kind of how I like it there. I have heard that this is a tricky plant to grow. I'm not super excited about the roots, but we'll see. All about trying new plants right now. So I think I want tiger phyllo about here. This just a ton of roots on it. Hopefully it's gonna start putting out some new leaves. But anyway, because I lost all that moam, this is gonna cost like a fortune in root tabs for a little while. But that's alright. Put those more toward the back. I think I'm actually going to add a little bit more substrate over in that area. And I don't have that much more of this left, so hopefully it's going to be enough. Excuse me, Maribel. Can you go somewhere else, please? Hopefully with these new plants, gonna be enough plants that I feel like I can keep the lights on brighter longer in here, and I think they'll all do better. I've only been doing like 4 hours a day at full brightness. I did get a dimmer for this light because I want to avoid algae. And I learned that from the 29 I set up, that if you have a ton of light and CO2 and not very many fast growing plants, that is what you get. So I don't want a repeat of that. And this is not like the most interesting video, but I don't know, some people might like it. With this stuff, particularly the thick stem stuff, I do prefer to just use my hands to plant it. I find that it wants to float up a lot if I use tweezers. How does that look? Step back and see. I like that, like that. I think the Hygrophila araguaia, or however you say it, is maybe getting a little tall for this spot. It does have a little lateral branch right there that I could cut off. According to what I've read, that's how you propagate this, is lateral branches or stem cuttings, but people generally recommend the lateral branches. Would like that to be shorter, but I don't want to cut that branch or that stem that much yet. So I don't know. And I do always like to sort of place my CO2 diffuser on, just got my towel in the water, under the plant leaves so that the bubbles are like forced to go around it and spend longer in the water before they reach the surface. So the giant baby tears I have had once before. I was lucky enough to find it at my Myers store, which is sort of like Walmart, but for like Michigan and the surrounding states. When they still carried live plants, my locations don't do that anymore. And I didn't have any highlight tanks or use CO2 at the time, and it eventually died. And I was reading that it prefers higher light and CO2. So this is the clump of it here. It's a little ratty at the bottom, but there is an absolute ton of stems here. So I think that is going to go sort of right behind the buce and in front of the blue hygro. If I can find my tweezers. Here we go, my favorite tiny stem planters. They really sent me like a ton of this. So I guess it won't be that big of a deal if a few stems don't make it. I can get this on that area. And I will probably fast forward this part because there is a lot of it. My idea with this is to have like a really nice little mound of it there. Kind of looks like Loidelia, but is supposed to grow a lot more compact with less aerial roots on it than that stuff does. Over here, in this corner is a Cryptspiralis. That's probably not going to stay in here. You can see it's kind of like recovering from when I moved it. But I think I probably am going to end up taking that out. Cryptspiralis for me is the hardest one to move. I usually don't have an issue moving crypts around. I know everybody says, like, don't do it. You can totally do it, except for Spiralis, apparently. You just have to be careful with the roots. That might be kind of all I want in that spot for right now. That stem needs to be trimmed. I still have half of that first bunch of it left. I'm aware that it can get pretty tall, and I did not like this golden Mirio, so maybe I will put some of it back there. Like, this was just a cutting. Look how many roots it has on it already. Well, that's what I was talking about in my other video, where it tends to lose leaves lower down on the stem, and it really doesn't get that tall before it starts doing that. So it does like to be kept trimmed. Typically in these sort of scapes there's a lot of repeats of plants, but like very defined little clumps. I'm still kind of getting the hang of it, how it's supposed to go. I don't know if I like that back there. I know I want some behind the Hygrophila or Aragoya there. Well, hell, I've got enough of it to put in a bunch of places. So I've got that clump in back there. Marble is enjoying it. And then I kind of connected these two clumps so that hopefully your eye will sort of be drawn to this off-center focal point there. I think that kind of looks interesting like that. So now for the cardamine, and I think I'm gonna move this to right in that spot there. One of the better articles that I read about doing this kind of scape was on the bar report. And if you Google that, just Dutch scape bar report, the first photo that's shown in that article is the one that is my inspiration picture. And I used Google Lens on it to try to figure out what some of the plants they used were. So the Cyperus helferi there was one of them. Some of them I couldn't figure out and it wouldn't tell me. And then some of them I know that I just don't have luck with. Like I think there's a big dark Ludwigia in the background. And it had some interesting things to say about this type of scape. One of the things I felt like I disagreed with, though, is that it was talking about, like, don't have too much red. And I feel like, I don't know, I probably shouldn't disagree with it. I'm not, like, an aquascaping judge or anything, but I do feel like that's really subjective. Like, I've seen a lot of articles, or not articles, pictures, where there are a lot of red and orange plants in a Dutch scape, and I think that they are gorgeous. So, kind of just disagree with that, but I am trying not to put too many red things in here. 3, and whatever color that buce is to your eye, which is more sort of blue purple to me. Now there is an absolute ton of this cardamine in this bunch as well, so I think I'm gonna have to put some of it in a different tank, which will probably end up being my 29 where I just put everything. And I have thought about doing like a plant only tank for grow out and selling plants and that kind of a thing. But I know that it's going to end up with fish in it of some kind. Because I thought, you know, with plant only I could just crank the CO2 and not have to worry about the livestock. But yeah, it would totally end up with fish in it. Because I always see some fish I want and go, gee, where can I fit those in? Because it's got aerial roots on it, I don't think it is immersed. But it does not look like the kind Larry has that are these cute little compact bushes of it. I don't think they grow aerial roots out of water. In this growth form, it kind of looks like pennywort. I'm realizing all of, except for the Cyperus helferi, all the other stem plants look a little pale. Not sure why. Maybe they weren't given enough light, or there's some kind of deficiency. I don't know. The giant baby tears that I had before was like bright, just sort of like the Crayola green. So hopefully they'll color up a little bit. That's like as tall as I want that. Okay, so here is the tank with everything planted. And I feel like I've got a pretty solid beginning for a Dutchscape here. Just gonna take a lot of time waiting for the plants to transition to my tank and then get to the heights that I want them and then trim them and all of that. What do you think, Marble? I think I might get rid of his log because it just goes into the flow of the filter and he doesn't use it. And I don't really want to suction cup it to like the side of the tank or anything because it's going to block light. So I haven't actually seen him use this leaf either. I think I'm going to do what I did over here, which is make sort of a flow diverter out of a plastic water bottle and attach that to filter, because if the thing is not there, like the flow just comes straight down and squishes all of these. So yeah, I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed my rambling mess of a video, and hope you all have a great day. Bye.